everyone. It is 9 a.m. where I'm at, so it's so nice to speak to you. I know it's 4 p.m. your time, so we're getting later into the day. I kind of want to start off with this text message that I got from a very close friend of mine. She's a VP of marketing at a startup. This is December 3rd of last year, where she sends me a link to an article about OpenAI. Please read this. Finally, an AI chatbot that reliably passes the Nazi test. My mind has been blown for hours. She's someone who doesn't code. She's sending me code, and I'm looking at it, and this is my response. Remember, this is December of last year. This is about 6 months ago. So my response to her is, wow, and I kind of just glanced at the article, didn't think too much of it. I thought that it was interesting, but not that interesting. I had no idea that the world had changed at this time. So I said, wow, and then I sent her a separate text message a few days later. Hey, I heard you're using a packing cube. Like, what is that? What is a packing cube? Clearly, I just moved on. I moved on with my life. So we fast forward 2 weeks into the future. And essentially, my response to her ended up, I was seeing ChatGPT on LinkedIn and on Twitter. And eventually I said this to her. I said, this is December 21st, 2022. I said, I've been playing around with ChatGPT quite a bit. I think this is a historical moment, to be honest. AI for everyone. And then she responds, I scribbled it out. She says, this blows my mind, and I still feel like we're underestimating it. And so why is it that I had that reaction? Why is it that we're talking about this AI stuff? Why is Microsoft, why is there an arms race between Microsoft and Google? Why is everybody trying to get into this space? Why is it profound? And why does it matter for you and I as people who build software? Well, before we get into that, I just want to briefly recap who I am. I'm Joshua Plicque. You can find me on Twitter and LinkedIn as Joshua Plicque. I have a software consultancy called Or Equals. We help rescue Elixir and Phoenix LiveView software, and we also do new software builds and augment teams. And then you can also find me on YouTube talking about Elixir and Phoenix LiveView at LiveView Mastery, something that I'm pretty passionate about. Haven't put a video out for about 2 months. Probably gonna be another month before I start putting out content again. Things have been pretty busy in my life, but it's something that I'm very passionate about. So if you want to check me out on LiveView Mastery, you can. So once again, why is AI profound? Why does this matter? The title, this is AI for everyone. And we're going to go all the way from the macro of Facebook and Google, and we're going to dial all the way into us as software engineers and how we're going to leverage AI both during the development process and within our applications. So before we get into that, I want to tell you about a trip I recently took to Denver. So Denver is in the middle of the United States. It's about 3,000 kilometers from where I live in Jacksonville, Florida. It's very far. And I was there recently on a boys trip with my friend, my college roommate, VJ, who I've put a rectangle around his face. He's about to have his first child. And we were having a boys trip to kind of celebrate before his life is going to radically change. He's not going to have a lot of sleep. He's going to be introducing a new person into the world. And here we are taking a hiking trip in the mountains. In Florida, where I'm at, there are pretty much no mountains. So this is brand new for me, seeing hills. Anyway, so during that trip, we rented a really nice white Lincoln Navigator. If you've ever been in a Lincoln Navigator, it is an amazing vehicle. I would recommend it. And we used it for the 3 or 4 days that we were there. So there was a point in the trip after we were done hiking where we went to this bar in Denver, and it looks kind of like this. Now, with respect to the advent of AI, I would like for you all to know that I actually generated this image. This is not the bar that I was at, but it looks a lot like it. But I actually generated this image of the bar. These people are not real. I generated this with AI using just because it's an AI talk. I just want you guys to see that I'm leveraging AI for presentations like this. So I gave Midjourney. Midjourney's a artificial intelligence that generates images. And I give it a prompt of Denver, Colorado bar, outside, middle of the day, drinks and tacos. And I got it pretty much an image that's pretty accurate for what we were doing at the time. So anyway, I'm on this trip in Denver, and we're at this taco bar. The night before, I couldn't find the charger for my phone. And so after the hike, we were at the bar, my phone was about to die, and it was still like the middle of the day. It was 2 p.m. and I needed to charge my phone because we had a whole day in front of us and I was pretty much going to be without communication. And so what I did was I took the Lincoln Navigator and I drove back to our hotel and to try and find my charger, whatever. I get back to the hotel, and because I'm in a brand new vehicle in a brand new place and I don't know how to turn off the car. So the Lincoln Navigator is this fancy vehicle and it's got like push to start button and I don't know how to turn it off. And so what I did was I actually put it into ChatGPT. I said, how do you turn off a Lincoln Navigator? So a very specific question. I got a very specific response. Shift the vehicle into park, press the engine stop button. And essentially ChatGPT saved me because I was sitting there for a good like 3 minutes. I was sitting there like trying to figure out how to turn it off. And I couldn't turn it off. And so I was able to shut down the Lincoln Navigator. Now, the reason why this is important, this is an important story because the very first place I went to was not Google. I didn't ask, I didn't text anybody. I didn't blast about on Twitter. I went to ChatGPT first because the reason why is let's look at the response I would have got if I had Googled it instead. When I went to Google to do how to turn off a Lincoln Navigator, I get all these videos and it's specific models of Lincolns, and somewhere in the video is my answer. And Google has tried. The problem with Google is that you have to not only search for your answer, but you also have to go and find your answer. And so Google has tried to help people with that by actually having prompts. How do you turn off a Lincoln car? How do I turn, it's clearly this is a major problem. Like a lot of people are asking, how do I turn off my Lincoln Corsair? How do I turn off my Lincoln MKC, blah, blah, blah. When you click on one of those results, it's still gonna take you to a video. And so the promise of the information age, the reason why this is critical is because the information age promised us the ability to search and find anything. And this is the democratization of information, data, everything is available at our fingertips. But the age of AI, the difference is that we're removing an entire step. You don't have to search and figure things out. Age of AI is just fine. You just put in your question and you get an immediate response. You don't have to do anything. And this is a profound innovation in our world because I was able to just put in how to turn off a Lincoln Navigator and get exact results. And so the reason why that's critical is because these company logos that I'm showing you, Facebook, Google, Twitter, TikTok, these people, these companies all leverage your attention. The attention is the most valuable asset for these companies because then they can serve you ads. If you're on Google typing in how to turn off a Lincoln Navigator, they might be able to serve you ads for, I don't know, training for your Lincoln Navigator, a $30 guide. These companies, the reason why there's such an arms race for this AI is because they leverage your attention and then they turn that into advertising dollars. But the beauty of artificial intelligence and the reason why this is so important is because AI is actually a superior technology than Google search or search engines in general because you can just find your answer. So in addition to that, here we have like amazing results as a result of GPT-4. This is something that took the LinkedIn world by storm, where a man detailed how he went and visited a veterinarian for his dog, wasn't able to get an accurate diagnosis. He put the actual blood work of his border collie into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT was actually able to diagnose his dog and get the dog. It saved the dog's life because the vet didn't know what to do, but the AI was actually able to figure it out. And so this is the macro picture that we're dealing with, and the reason why AI is so important. It's because it's a leap in the innovation of the information age, where the information, you don't have to find it anymore. It's immediately accessible to you, and it's almost always accurate. Of course, that's debatable, but AI is typically accurate. But what does that mean for us in the software world? So as we get into that, I want to tell you another story about a Discord server I run called Veil. So Veil is a really small Discord server. It's like a community server where we kind of just get together and we chat about politics and current events. It's on Discord. Discord's like a social network. I'm sure most of you know what Discord is, but Discord's a social network primarily built for gamers, but it's kind of like little tree houses online where people can kind of go and have your own little community where it's not publicly available. You have to join the community to get access to it. So in my server, there's a moderator named Kirk. So this is his logo, Kirk 008. And now Kirk is interesting because Kirk is an electrical engineer who took a high school programming class, and he had the idea for an event for the server. Hey, what if we could do an event where we could all play Pokemon together? So I don't know if you remember way back, maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, on Twitch, there was a moment in time where it was like Twitch plays Pokemon, where people would type commands in the chat and then you could play the game of Pokemon together in Twitch chat. So Kirk actually set up an event in the server. This is a screenshot of like him actually running this event in the server where we were actually all playing Pokemon together. On the left side of the screen, you can see that Kirk pressed down and Rick Sanchez pressed A. And so we were all essentially playing the game of Pokemon together. Now remember, Kirk is an electrical engineer who knows very little about programming. And so he was able to design this. He actually put it in ChatGPT. He said the prompt he put was, I want to write a Discord bot that acts as an emulator controller. It would ideally submit and embed to a channel with controls A, B, up, down, left, and right. Listen for people to press each command before sending a keyboard stroke through Python to the system that the bot is running on, which is in Discord. And so ChatGPT literally starts spitting out Python code to him. And so ChatGPT responds, create a Discord bot and invite it to your server, create a Python file, and put this code to get started. And so essentially, here's somebody who is a complete amateur at programming, able to code together a Discord bot where this is the initial code, and this is what it actually looked like when you put it in our server, where we were able to start a command and people were able to click on those up and down buttons. We were all playing Pokemon together. And then he essentially just started adding functionality to it. Can I get the bot to automatically self-react with all the control emojis? So see all these emojis on the controller? That's essentially like when he actually starts the controller, it'll actually put the up arrow and the down arrow and the A and the B buttons in there. And then ChatGPT spits out the code. And then he's like, hey, okay, cool, you gave me the code, but how do I add this to the server? And so then ChatGPT shows him how to add it to the server. And then he starts running into bugs. He started, like, essentially the ChatGPT Python code was making reference to libraries, Python libraries that he didn't have installed on his computer. He didn't know how to code, so he asked ChatGPT, hey, how do I install these Python libraries? And so boom, ChatGPT instructs him on how to install the libraries. He gets an error. Hey, I got this error. He copy pastes the error. ChatGPT actually helps him debug the error. And then fast forward, he's actually starting to work on the bot. Hey, how do I make a delay between the button press and delete? So when you actually click on the button, it was actually responding immediately. He wanted it to where when you released the click on the up arrow or something like that, it would actually then do the command in the Pokemon game. So ultimately, you have this guy who doesn't know anything about programming, designing this advanced bot, and we literally played Pokemon together. We spoke about it like on Thursday, and we were playing Pokemon on Friday. And now this is where I'm going to blow all of your minds. This took Kirk 1 hour to build. He is a complete amateur and took a high school programming class. Now, this is the difference between reading an article and this is real. Like, we're looking at a real world result and output from artificial intelligence from a complete amateur. I have a decade of experience in programming. I have built multiple Discord chat bots, and this bot that he made would have taken me a few days to create. This is crazy. And so we started off with this text that I got from my friend Moira about ChatGPT, and I didn't understand how big of a deal this was going to be. And we fast forward 6 months now, from December to May of this year. And now we have people who don't know how to code, complete amateurs, running circles. Literally, he was able to do this in 1 hour. This probably would have taken me 2 or 3 days. So let's just say it would have taken me 10 hours. We have somebody who was able to have a productivity level that was 10 times faster than an expert, not only in programming, but in Discord bot development. And so this is the world we live in. Like I said, this is not an article. This is not some prediction that AI is coming for all of us. This is a 100% real scenario. All that to say, Africa, using AI is no longer optional. This is the world we live in. This is real. This is a real thing that happened. And so that means that the bar has been raised because we have amateurs doing what experts were only able to do, and those experts are being ran in circles by amateurs. This is me. This is my life. This happened. But I have good news. The good news is that using AI is really easy. And it's very accessible. So this is me doing a prompt. So cron job syntax, right? Cron job syntax is how you can run a background job in your application at a certain time, at a certain times of day. The problem with cron job syntax is it's kind of a pain in the butt to know, and I don't remember how to do it. And so you can just put it into ChatGPT. This is me actually, this is a real world problem that I was solving. I needed to run a job every day at 8 a.m. in my Elixir code using an Oban job. And so I just asked ChatGPT, give me the cron job syntax for every day at 8 a.m. And I just copy pasted that. And so I was able to do in 15 seconds what would have taken me possibly 5 to 10 minutes by Googling it around, trying to figure it out. This is the reason why amateurs can run circles around experts, because instead of having to search and find the answer, AI allows us to instantly have the answer. And this is me working inside of an actual client application. I was working on legacy code and I needed to make a change to a module. And so it was an untested module. I just pasted the entire module into ChatGPT. I said, hey, go ahead and write unit tests for this thing. And within seconds, I asked it to write unit tests and it gave me all my unit tests. I copy pasted the unit tests, they all passed, and I was able to execute my change immediately. This is the world we live in. Using AI is no longer optional. And so in addition to using something like ChatGPT, I also use GitHub Copilot. So GitHub Copilot is the essentially OpenAI thing that it essentially does code completion in your text editor. And it looks a lot like this, where you can actually write in code comments what you're trying to do, determine whether the sentiment of text is positive, use a web service, and see how that blue section from lines 8 to 17, ChatGPT will actually auto-complete your code. I use this every single day, and I'm at a point now where between ChatGPT and GitHub Copilot, I'm able to increase my productivity because I'm no longer, most of our day is not actually spent writing code. Like a very productive day for us is running, like if I can write between 400 and 800 lines of code, that is a very productive day. I have done a great job. Like if I'm writing 800 lines of code, that's awesome. But guess how long it takes to write 800 lines of code? It takes about 20 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. So most of our day is not actually spent writing code. Most of our day is reading other people's code, searching things, debugging things. But what if you could pass off a lot of that time spent to an artificial intelligence that'll give, hey, I got this error, help me debug this. Boom, it'll help you. Hey, like, how do I get the cron job syntax for this? Hey, write unit tests for that. And then you just pass it off to this thing. And this is what is going to insulate us from the clear innovation that's coming where we have amateurs outrunning experts. And so the only way to keep up is to use AI ourselves. Now, something I do want to mention is that, so this is a picture of me and people that work in my company. The guy on the far left is Eritrean, actually. I know that this is a primarily Kenyan audience, so that's nearby. And his name is Johanna. Johanna is a junior developer. He's an apprentice at my company. And of course, as you can hear me, I'm like passionate about AI. And he's like, hey, should I be using AI? And I initially said no. I was like, dude, if you're using AI as a junior level person, it's really going to slow you down. But as time went on, I changed my opinion because the innovation is happening so fast that, once again, I keep talking about this amateur that I'm hurt, right? It hurt my ego. It hurt my ego that somebody who literally doesn't know how to code was able to code 10 times faster than me in 1 hour, what would have taken me 10 to 15 to 20 hours. Junior devs should be using AI. That's the bottom line. All of us should be using AI because this is the state of the art. And it's only been 6 months. December of last year is when I first heard of ChatGPT. And then now AI is here for all of us and we should be using it. It's going to make us more productive and it's going to insulate us from the people who are using it, who are going to be taking our job. So AI, maybe 5-10 years from now, AI might kill a lot of our jobs, but for the current moment, For the next 2, 3, 5 years, the people who are going to be taking people's jobs are people who are going to be using AI, who are going to be 10, 5, 3 times more productive. And there's no reason to be afraid. There's no reason to be afraid. Just use it. Anyway, I'm off track. Junior devs should be using AI, but it's very important as a junior dev that you understand the code that's being written by the AI, because AI very often, when it's writing code for you, it's subtly wrong. It's off by a little bit. And so you can't trust it. You can't trust it, and you have to guide it, and you have to make sure that it's correct, and you have to make sure that you understand the code that's being written. And so, okay, we started from the macro, right? AI is inevitable. AI is coming for us. The way you avoid it is by using it. It's very easy to use. And so finally, where do we go from here? Well, how do we leverage AI inside of our applications? AI for everyone. You know, we've got Kirk writing AI, me, Joshua Plicque writing AI, but how do we use AI in our applications? So the 4 things you need to be aware of in the Elixir ecosystem is Bumblebee, Hugging Face, Axon, and Nx. So Bumblebee, so Hugging Face is this, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Anyway, thankfully, we can use AI today. So Hugging Face is you can just Google this right now. Hugging Face is an open source repository of pre-trained neural network models. Now, the reason why this is critical is because you and I don't have to be machine learning engineers. We don't have to be experts in neural networks or what is the LLVMs, language models. We don't have to be experts in this at all. We literally can, you could use ChatGPT as an API, but you can actually pull off the shelf open source pre-trained AIs, and you can throw them into your app immediately. So Hugging Face, if you Google that, that's a place where you can literally just Google, hey, video to text AI, text to image AI. And so in December of last year, if you go to the Hugging Face blog, Jose Valim, the person who wrote our language, I'm just going to read this introduction. The Elixir community is glad to announce the arrival of several neural network models. The reason why this is critical is because you don't have to worry about coding this yourself. You can kind of just use it as a black box. You put in text, you get out an image. From GPT-2 to Stable Diffusion to Elixir. This is possible thanks to the announced Bumblebee library. So we go back to where we are in the Elixir ecosystem. Bumblebee uses Hugging Face neural network models, which sits on top of Axon, which is the underlying framework that Axon and Nx are kind of like 2 libraries that live underneath Bumblebee. I don't know much about them because, hey, at the end of the day, I'm not a neural network developer. If you want to be that person, guess what? It's available to you. But someone like me, who kind of just wants to just use AI kind of like as an interface, you can use Bumblebee on top, and you can just get access to all these things that you can just pull off the shelf from Hugging Face. And so we're going to take a quick look at that. So we're going to jump back forward. To help anyone get started with these models, the team, you can actually just Google this, Hugging Face, Elixir, Jose Valim. To help anyone get started with these models, the team behind LiveView for Elixir created a collection of smart cells that allows developers to scaffold different neural network tasks in only 3 clicks. So he actually made a video to accompany this blog post. It's a 23-minute video. And look at one of the first things he is able to do. He's able to, 2 minutes and 24 seconds in the video, he's actually using the LiveView to finish a sentence. Yesterday, I was reading a book and then it's completing the sentence. And I was thinking, what's going on here? And then at minute 12:48 in the video, with under 15 minutes, you have this text completion API, and he's actually incorporating this artificial intelligence into a LiveView application. Guys, this is profound. This is profound because not only are amateurs able to run around experts, but now, hey, guess what? I don't know anything about neural networks. I don't know anything about artificial intelligence. All I know is that, hey, I can pull artificial intelligence off the shelf with Bumblebee. Bumblebee has like dozens of already built-in, pre-built neural network models. And here is a video where 12 minutes in, he's actually showing you a LiveView application that has automatic text completion. Chris McCord also came out with a video recently, embed and broadcast whisper speech to text in your Phoenix app in 15 minutes. This is the world we live in. So the title of this presentation is AI for Everyone. We should be using AI at all levels of abstractions. Here I am in Denver in a completely different state. I don't know anything. I'm driving a vehicle I don't know anything about, and instantly I'm able to get the answer. How do I turn off turn off this car? I'm using AI to generate recipes for cooking, and so you have an electrical engineer generating programming, full-on advanced programming applications, and then for you and I, people who actually code these things, we're able to just throw in and within 15 minutes or less have powerful things that have taken millions of dollars of investment instantly available to us. And check this out. There's another blog post that came out in January where there's a guy named Philip Brown, and he is actually doing video, he's detecting objects in videos. It's one blog post. You can Google this blog post, and here's the conclusion of the blog post. Within the context of a single blog post article, this guy has done the following. And there you have it, video object detection with a live updating browser interface and a very small amount of code. eVision, Bumblebee, Nx, and Axon provide everything you need out of the box to start working with machine learning and Elixir. And you don't even need to know how any of this works. And so this is the wonderful world that we live in, because at the end of the day, you and I can bring real artificial intelligence without having to understand it into our apps in under an hour. We live in the age of AI, where we can just find the answers. We have amateurs that are running circles around experts, building Discord bots that are advanced, actually interfacing with not only the Discord chat, but an emulator for a Pokemon game in under an hour. Here I am writing cron job syntax, using AI, not only with GitHub Copilot, but also with ChatGPT to be able to improve the speed with which I'm getting my job done. Because remember, most of our time spent developing is not writing code. Most of our time is reading other people's code, debugging, researching our problems, and making sure that our problems actually work. And AI helps with the very large aspect of where our time goes as software developers. And then not only that, so now we have ChatGPT used for everyone. We have we have AI for everyone. We have AI for us. And then we have AI for our users and our customers, the people that we serve. Under 15 minutes, we have an hour. We can have powerful AI models with Hugging Face, using Bumblebee. And essentially, this is how, and this is why we can have AI for everyone. Because, hey, we can just pull it off the shelf, throw it in our apps, and we have blog posts, we have videos where people are doing this in under 15 minutes. And that's pretty much my presentation. Thank you. Powerful AI models with Hugging Face.
Thank you, Joshua. That's Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry. Thank you so much. I've heard so much about Bumblebee, but for me, it has always been a buzzword. So this sort of brings it home that I don't have to learn about NX.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yes, don't have to learn about NX. I just need to apply this and we are all good. I have one. Okay, so one, what is the Nazi test?
Oh, the Nazi test. Yeah, so to be honest with you, I kind of just looked at it. I saw that, hey, this is artificial intelligence. And I kind of just responded to my friend and I said, wow. I actually don't even know. I kind of just glanced at it and I saw that, hey, artificial intelligence. I was like, okay, yeah, cool, artificial intelligence. I had no idea that at that time, it's less about the Nazi thing. Yes, I don't know what the Nazi test is. So that's the simple answer. But essentially, AI was not only in the world of technical people, non-technical people are now using AI left and right. People who don't know how to code are now writing code with AI.
Makes sense. Is AI going to make us extinct as developers? Are we the next factory workers and the machines?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So something that was pretty powerful is when the Industrial Revolution came out or was taking the West by storm, there was a rebellion in England called the Luddite Rebellion. So the Luddites were a group of people who essentially went in and they would go and they would break all the factory machines because they were deemed redundant. It was back in like the late 1800s during the Industrial Revolution, where they would go into the factories and just destroy all the machines that were taking their jobs. So if we look throughout history about innovation as big as this, the jobs just mutate. Like there's no milkman anymore. There's no, the data entry person has gone away. Like every time that a big innovation like this happens, new jobs are created. But, so the answer is, there's always going to be a new opportunity, especially for us as people who build software. The key thing that needs to be done is that you need to make sure that you're using artificial intelligence so that your productivity, like essentially, there's a phrase that we use in America called a rising tide lifts all boats. So when a rising tide comes up, the boats all are higher up in the water. That's what artificial intelligence is. We are now, as an industry, going to be much more productive because of artificial intelligence, because we're going to have instant answers and we don't have to search for them anymore. Therefore, I don't think that we should be worried about, if you're not using AI, you should be worried for your job. But so there's no excuse for it because it's so easy to use. If you use AI, there's nothing to be afraid of. You're going to match the productivity level to keep your job. And at the end of the day, we're solving human problems. And when we're solving human problems, it's very rare for someone to be able to actually just, like, as software engineers, we're able to, most people can't even describe their problems. And so actually, I'll leave it at that. I don't know where I was going with that. Don't worry for your job, just use AI. If you use AI, you don't have to worry about your job.
So use AI so that you can keep your job and you can rise with the tide. Then there's something else. What is it? So then that means as developers or people who are training developers, we should stop focusing more on writing the code and the problem solving part, because that is the part where I think you're going to have more benefits. Because if AI can create code for you, then you need to focus on the architecture and the problem solving.
Yes. Okay, that's kind of where I was getting at. Code is quickly going to become a commodity. Being able to define your problem, sort of like Kirk was doing, like, hey, I'm trying to build a Discord bot where I'm trying to talk to an emulator. Him being able to articulate that is the primary skill of the future. The primary skill of the future is being able to articulate your problem so that you're able to describe it directly to the AI so that it actually can generate your code. I think that the future, this is just my read of the situation. I think the future of our craft is going to be just prompts. It's going to be like, hey, do you want to build a GraphQL API? Yes. Boom. What endpoints? Do you need a registration endpoint? Yes. Do you need a sign-up endpoint? No. I think that's what our career is going to end up. I don't know if you guys have seen GitHub Copilot X. Yo. Yes. Oh my gosh. If you haven't seen the 2-minute video about GitHub Copilot X, it is breathtaking. This field, this AI stuff is really something to keep up with. It's not, if you just do it, you're going to be fine. So, yeah.
Was this worth your time? Hope so. Please subscribe to stay in the loop for more of this content. In case of any queries or suggestions, feel free to hit us up on Twitter. We'd like to extend a warm welcome to ElixirconfAfrica 2024. And here's the best part about this one. It'll be an in-person event. What a good excuse to come to Kenya. Again, we're super grateful for helping make this a success and definitely looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers!